Welcome to Animal Behavior. In the previous 3 classes, 3 weeks, we have completed topics related to sex. Namely, they are evolution of sex, sexual selection, and mating systems. And this week, we are starting a brand new topic, which is the social evolution of social behaviors. This week and next week, we are focusing on the social behaviors. And the first topic of the social behaviors is kin selection. And you may ask me, what is social behavior? And, you know that we humans exhibit a lot of social behaviors, and the honeybees do. But what about other species? And what is the social behavior? What is the definition of social behaviors? And social behaviors is the any 2 individuals, they interacting with each other at the same time, and that constitute a social behavior. So social behavior is, I want to say, quite common. And you remember that in the previous 3 classes, in the male and female in a species, they interact together for mating and rearing the young. That's also social behavior. So social behavior is actually quite common. And what's interesting in social behavior is that some individuals are altruistic. Some individuals, they sacrifice themselves in order for others. Sometimes they are related, sometimes they are not related. So we are going to focus on these altruistic behaviors. And this week and next week, how do such altruistic behaviors might evolve in a social group? That's the main focus of of this week and next week. The example today, I want to start with this example: Belding's ground squirrel. Have you ever, if you have the opportunity to go to the American West, you may see such an very interesting rodent. That's the squirrel. The squirrels we see in Korea, they usually live in up on the trees, but they live in the underground. They make burrows, and they live in the underground, and then they go out of the burrows and then find food there. They exhibit some interesting behavior. They sometimes they're standing on their hind legs like this, and then they watch. They watch out for the predators, and if they see predators watching or approaching to you or to your colony, and they make a warning. They make an alarm signal. So they may trill if the hawks are approaching. They may whistle if the four-legged mammals approaching to their colony. And this behavior, the alarm calling, is altruistic because the alarm calling squirrels, they are tracked down and killed by predators at a higher rate than the non-callers. And it looks very conspicuous to the predators, and they do the alarm calling for quite a long time so that the other individuals surrounding you to take cover, and will give you time to take cover, so that these individuals are exposed to the predation risk. So you may say that the alarm calling behaviors are altruistic. It may sacrifice themselves for to help the other individuals to take cover. Interesting observation of this alarm calling behavior is that it's female biased. So that look at this one. That's this is the frequency of alarm calling here. This y-axis, and that's the frequency for the adult females. It's way above the 60%. You know, the females produce alarm calling at these high percentages, but whereas the adult males, they gives the alarm calling less than 10%. Very biased, okay? It's biased. sex biased. And this is the frequency for the 1 year female. It's a little bit shy of the 40%. That's the frequency for the 1 year male. It's a huge difference between male and females in giving alarm calling. Why is that? Why the females provide, they produce more alarm calling than males do? The reason is that in Belding's ground squirrels, the females exhibit philopatry. What it means, the philopatry, is that the females, once they grown up, they become adults. They become independent. But what they do is that they stay, they settle around their mothers, so that the females don't go far. You just settle, right next to your mother. So you just disperse in a very short distance. But the males, they disperse far away, far away, so that in the Belding's ground squirrel society, it's all female-related society. So everybody's there is either your mother, your sisters, your aunts, or female cousins. So if you're a female, everybody there is related. But the males, they are coming from outside. They are not your relative. They are outside. From a male's point of view, you just matter just for your family. All others are not related to you. So if females gives the alarm calling, they care for her descendant kin, that is their own offspring, to take cover. But at the same time, by giving the alarm calling for longer time at the expense of their own life, they may help the non-descendant kins, which are the relatives other than their own offspring. It's like offspring of your sisters, offspring of your mothers, offspring of the female cousins. They all help. They all help the non-descendant kins to take cover by giving the alarm calling for longer time at the expense of your life. So this is that's the altruism, and it might be explained by the kin selection. And the kin selection, what I mean is that the natural selection favoring the spread of genes that increase the indirect component of the fitness. And what is the indirect component of fitness? This descendant kin, that's your direct fitness, That's the offspring from you. But the non-descendant kins, even if they are not your own offspring, you and this non-descendant kin share the same gene, because you and the non-descendant kin share the common ancestor. So that is called if you help them, non-descendant kin, to survive, then that's basically has the effect of helping some of your genes sharing with the non-descendant kins to propagate. So that's the indirect component of fitness. And most instances of altruism in animal world, what we see are the results of the kin selection. And it's probably the same as in human societies. Okay, let me explain the indirect fitness again, and also the inclusive fitness here. And I explained this slide many times, probably to explain this direct fitness. The direct fitness is the number of offspring produced by an individual. It's basically your own offspring. That's the indirect fitness. And that's the direct fitness. And what is the indirect fitness? That's basically the genes contributed by an individual indirectly by helping the non-descendant kins. So the inclusive fitness, that's basically the union of these two components of fitnesses. That's the direct fitness plus indirect fitness should be the indirect, inclusive fitness. So now we have so far, up until in the previous week, we have just talking about the direct fitness. We just counted number of offsprings you produced for your life. That's what we just talked about. Now we are adding another component to the fitness, which is the indirect fitness. And if you want to understand the social behaviors exhibited by many animals, then you should know the indirect fitness and inclusive fitness. Why such an altruistic behavior might evolve, then you should know these two concepts. And one of the genius in animal behavior is the William D. Hamilton, and he published probably just 2,000 papers in his entire life, but each one is an excellent, it's like basically a home run, and probably this this idea is his most well-known work, which we call Hamilton's rule, and this rule basically explains the evolution of the altruistic behavior. And an allele is, it's the kind of it's like a variant of a gene. So you may think of as a gene. So an allele that favors altruistic behavior could spread under the following condition, which is the B times R is greater than C. And the B is the benefit to the recipient, and the C is the cost, and R is the coefficient of relatedness. Earlier, we have learned the cost-benefit analysis, in which a behavior may evolve if the benefit of the behavior is greater than the cost of that behavior. It's basically the same, except for this term, the R. This cost-benefit is this benefit is weighted down by R, which is the coefficient of relatedness. And let's look at then what is the coefficient of relatedness. Coefficient of relatedness. I understand that this is the lecture given in English, but in the English lecture in English, the English language doesn't have some good word describing this coefficient of relatedness. But in Korean, we have such a great terminology for this coefficient of relatedness, and that's exactly what it means here. And I'm going to write in Korean. I'm sorry for this one, but it's basically the 천, 삼천, 사천. That's basically this one, the coefficient of relatedness. Okay, that's the probability that an allele present in one individual will be present in the other as a result of the shared ancestry. Okay, so let's think about it for a while. You and your cousins are related. Why they are related? Why you and your cousins are related? Because you and your cousin share the common ancestor. Like your mother and their cousin's mothers they are sisters. They are sisters, and they share the mothers, the grandparents together. So they have the common ancestor. Because of the common ancestor, there is a probability that you and your cousin have the same gene or same allele. That's the coefficient of relatedness. If you are more close to your relative, then there is a higher probability of sharing the same gene. If you are far apart from your relatives, then probably the coefficient of relatedness is low. So how do you calculate the coefficient of relatedness? First, draw out a pedigree linking the two individuals, A and B, through their common ancestor. So that's it's a father, mother, and let's say we are calculating the coefficient of relatedness between the sisters and or brothers. So it's you, and it's your brother or your sister, and you and your brother sister have a shared common ancestor that are father and mother, and draw arrows along the pathways pointing A and B. So it's like this one, and indicate on each link in the pathway the probability that a copy of an allele will be shared. What it means is that how how closely related you and your mother. You have two sets of chromosomes, and half set of chromosome. One set of chromosome is coming from your mother, and the other set of chromosome is from the father. So you and your mothers are related. The probability of you and your mother is related is a half. It's a half. So let's calculate the coefficient of relatedness for full siblings. Full siblings is like you and your brother and you and your sister. Again, your father and your mother is the common ancestor. So each arrow has is a value of the half. Again, you and your mother share the half of the genes together. So this is the 1.5. And from the mother to your sister or to your brother is again 1.5. So via your mother, the degree of relatedness is 1.5. I'm sorry, half times half is a quarter. That's for your mothers only. And for your father's side, it's the same thing. So again, then it's a quarter. Then the coefficient of relatedness between you and your brother or you and your sister is the 1/4 plus 1/4 is a half. And I want you to calculate the coefficients of relatedness for the mother and daughter, and for cousins, and for half siblings in online discussion. Okay, now we keep it basic tools to understand the altruistic behaviors exhibited in many animals. We have learned the Hamilton's rule. We know the concept of the inclusive fitness. We also learned how to calculate the coefficient of relatedness. And now let's look at the Hymenopteron, which we all know that they exhibit some the extreme examples of reproductive altruism. Also, they have a highly developed the society. And the Hymenopterans, they exhibit the reproductive altruism. And what it means is that in some groups, in most of the members of the Hymenopteran species, like honeybees, most of them do not reproduce. They just work. The workers, okay, the worker bees. The workers, they are called workers because they just work and work. That's all they do. And the queens, they only reproduce. She does nothing but reproduce. So there's a huge difference in terms of the reproduction. And in one side, it's a worker bees, they just work. The other side, so it's a queen, they just reproduce. Why have such the difference in reproductive altruism in Hymenoptera? And that's what I'm going to explain the rest of this this time here. And one of the puzzles in Hymenoptera is that they sacrifice themselves to the point that they do not reproduce. Here, this is you probably have experienced that you are stung by your bees, and this is the stinger. Even if it's separated from the bee, it's still pumping the poison inside of your skins. And also, after stinging you, this bee dies soon because this part here, the stinger is the modified ovipositor. It's the big part of your internal body organ. It's out of your body, and then she will die. And she does this behavior, stinging you, to protect the colony. Okay, she protect her colony against predators. She sacrificed herself to protect the colony. That's the altruism. Another example of some extreme altruism is you here the honeypot ants, and these species are typically found in arid or the semi-arid environments. It's like a deserts. There's almost no rain, and when the foods are abundant, there are lots of the food available. The workers bring all the food, and then they need to store for some bad times when there is not much rain or food, and they don't have any containers, natural containers. So what they do is that they gorge some workers like this one to the point that their abdomen is swollen like this. So and then they hang over the ceilings like this. So basically, they are living storages for their rest of their life. They are living storage for life, and they regurgitate when the bad times come for other workers. So this is the example of the extreme altruistic behavior in Hymenoptera. Another example, and you see a lot of in ant society. You have the soldiers, and this is a typical workers. They are tiny, and look at this huge size of the ants. And you are soldiers. You need to protect your colony from the predators. Then you need to be big. You need to have strong, and you have a huge mandibles like this part, so that you can defend against the predators. And your morphology is shaped like a soldier's. And that's permanent. You cannot change your body. So once you are soldiers like that, you are soldiers for entire life, and you have no reproductive capability. You just serve your whole colony. Again, this is another extreme example of the altruistic behavior in Hymenoptera. And all these examples, the workers in honeybees, and the honeypot ants, and the soldier ants, they are sterile caste. The sterile caste, that's the individuals have little or no chance to reproduce. When I explain the concept of the fitness, then I told you that the animals, if they want to be successful, they need to survive and reproduce. Okay, survive and reproduce, but they have no ability to reproduce. Their morphology has been shaped in a way that they just serve for the colony for life. They have no chance of reproducing. Why do we see such extreme examples of the altruism? What factors lay the groundwork for such extreme altruism? And why is so extreme? Why is extreme altruism so widespread in Hymenoptera? This extreme behaviors is typically exhibited in the Hymenopteran societies, and these societies we call the Eusociality, and these are the three characteristics of the Eusociality in Hymenoptera. And there are some examples in other species, like the termites, but it's, typically you found many species in Hymenoptera. But in Hymenoptera, the individuals comprising the societies are basically three. Just look at the honeybees. Then you have the workers, and they are a lot. They are sometimes 20 to 200,000. Basically the most of the members of the honeybee societies, they are workers. And you have also queen, and there's only one queen. If you have more than one, they will fight to the death. One of them to the death. And you also have the drones. They are the males. These two are females, and these two are the males. And they are few. They're just like maybe 100 or 200 to maybe 200 at best. So if you see the honeybee hive, most of them are the workers, and there's only one queen. And this queen just reproduce for the entire hive. The workers, they have almost no chance of reproducing by themselves. They just work, and they do almost everything for the colony. And just think about it. Which you want to be? You want to be a worker, or you want to be a queen? Okay. If you are a worker, then you just work for your entire life, and no chance of reproducing yourself. And it seems to be really unfair to you, don't you think? What about the queens? That she just reproduced for the whole colony. If you are a worker, how can you tolerate that? Such inequality in behaviors. And this is called the reproductive division of labor. Some individuals reproduce and others do not participate in reproduction. And cooperative brood care, several individuals, they cooperate to rear the young. That is called cooperative brood care. Humans exhibit this one. Also overlap between the generations. And if you go to your home, you have your parents and you, sometimes your grandparents, sometimes your daughter, they live together. That's the overlap of generation. That is also exhibited in humans. But this second characteristic is only exhibited in eusocial societies. If you have all three characteristics, it's called eusocial. It's called eusocial. That's the most complex form of the sociality. Okay, now I try to explain why this eusociality might be common in Hymenoptera. And in order to understand that, we have to know the sex determination in Hymenoptera. And how do we determine the sex in humans? It's like if you have the XX, it's the females, the XY, then you are males. That's the diploid system like this. That's the way you may decide the sex in humans. But that's very different in Hymenoptera, like in bees. This is the internal organs of the like a honeybee. This is the ovary. That's where you develop the eggs. Once the eggs is developed, then it passes down. You pass the oviduct, then you are laid out. Okay, but they also have the organs called spermathecae right here. I may use the different color here. Okay. It's a spermathecae. Spermathecae. What it means is that it's the sperm storing organ. So when the queen, once she becomes a queen, she get out of the hive and they fly out into the sky. It's called the maiden fly. That's the only time a queen flies, and there she mates with multiple males, and she stores all the sperms from the female right in here in their spermathecae. So when the egg is laid, it's passing through this oviduct, and a sperm may be exceeded out there, and then the sperm and the eggs might fertilize right there. Okay, it's basically like in humans, and the sperm and eggs are fertilized, then it becomes, sorry for this, okay, red, okay, thanks. So the male and females are fertilized, it becomes 2N, then if you're 2N, you are females. But sometimes the females, the queens have extraordinary ability that she may not allow the sperms out of the spermatheca. Then the eggs is just passing through without fertilization with the sperms. Since these eggs is not fertilized with the sperm, she can constrict here so that the sperms cannot out of these spermathecae. Then the eggs from the ovary become unfertilized. You have only one set of chromosome. If it's not fertilized with the sperm, if it's a one set, it becomes a male. So here now, if the eggs and sperms are fertilized, then you have two sets of the chromosome like humans, then it becomes female. But if the egg is not fertilized with the sperm, then it becomes a male. So here, the eggs, this is a typical egg, and this is blue and red. It's like and this is the one set of chromosome from the egg, and this dotted line is from the sperm. Again, these two are fertilized, and you have like two sets of chromosomes. It's called diploid. Then you become female, and this is the egg. Again, this is a chromosome, and it's not fertilized with the sperm like this one. Then it's only haploid. It becomes a son. And what effect does this sex determination bring the evolution of the social behavior in Hymenoptera? And then we need to understand the mother-daughter genetic relatedness in Hymenoptera. And that's the chromosome from the males. Since males has only one set of chromosome, so this one directly contribute this set of chromosome directly contribute any daughters, the daughters becomes the workers, okay, and any chromosome from the drones are the same because the drones has only one set of chromosome, but the queens have two sets of chromosomes, and there's a combination like this. It's called meiosis, and you just look at the general biology book, okay? Then you have like 4 different combinations, and each one of them now becomes the haploid. Haploid can union with the one set of the male chromosome. Now here, and all these 4 now are the daughters who are workers, and the half is from the queen, and the other half is from the drone. So the mother-daughter genetic relatedness is a half. It's half of the genes from the mother, half of the genes from the drone, so that the mother-daughter genetic relatedness is the half. It's the same as like in humans, but it's very different in from sister genetic relatedness in Hymenoptera. Okay, let's say this is you like a sisters, okay, a sister. It's a diploid, and this set of chromosome, this one here, this one. Oh, I'm sorry for this. Okay, this the dotted chromosome. This is from the drone, and this one is the same as any of your sisters, and your sisters has maybe has 4 different kind of the chromosome makeup, in which, if you look at the half of the chromosome which is from your drone are always the same. Look at this dotted line here. That's because the drones have only one set of chromosome. And so that you give the same chromosome to every workers, every females, that all share the same chromosome in half set. But the other set of the chromosome is from the queen. It's from the queen, and you have like 4 different possibilities, like for this one, and for this one, that's the half the same. The other one is the same as the U, and this one shares none. But on average, okay, on average, each represents 25% of the all workers. But if you average all these 4, it becomes 75%, okay? 75, 150, you average them, it becomes to 75%, or the genetic relatedness between sisters. I'm sorry, this should be sister. Sister genetic relatedness is the 3/4, okay? It's a 3/4. So now let's assume that the here. I'm a worker, okay? I'm a worker. That's the I'm a worker in a bee society, and if I mate with the drone and lay some eggs, produce an offspring, then let's assume that that's the female. Then what's the genetic relatedness between me and daughter? That is 0.5, okay? It's a 0.5. But instead of producing offspring on my own, if I help my mother, which is the queen, to reproduce your sisters, okay? If your sisters, then the genetic relatedness between you and your sisters is 0.75. It's 0.75. If you help your mother, okay, if you are altruistic, so that you help your mother, the queen, to reproduce your sisters, then the genetic relatedness you and your sisters is 0.75. But again, if you just reproduce on your own, okay, then you and your daughter, the genetic relatedness between you and your daughter is only 0.5, and this one it's huge. So instead of them, so this is the condition that instead of reproduce on your own, you just help your mother, even though you help your mother to reproduce your sisters a lot. So females will maximize their inclusive fitness, since they have no direct fitness, because they do not reproduce themselves. They do not have the direct fitness, but they have huge inclusive fitness, because they have a lot of sisters, sometimes 20 or 20,000 sisters, by acting as workers rather than reproductives. So that this is the condition: females favor the reproduction of sisters over the production of daughters or the sons. And this might be the condition for the evolution of eusociality in Hymenoptera. And the eusociality is a continuation of the kin selection, which is the helping the non-descendant queens so that you increase the inclusive fitness. In Hymenoptera, you help your mother to reproduce a number of your sisters, and and your sisters are more closely related to you, more than you and your own offspring if you reproduce on your own. So we finished the first week of social behaviors, which is the kin selection, and I explained that a lot of the altruistic behaviors in animal world is a result of the kin selection, and I give the example of the Belding's ground squirrel, and also the extreme altruistic behaviors in Hymenoptera, and these two are the result of the kin selection. basically helping your relatives so that you increase the indirect component of fitness. Next week, we are going to study the cooperation based on I'm sorry, it's a reciprocal altruism. This is basically, I mean, this week we studied the altruistic behavior between the relatives. Okay, you help your relatives so that you increase your indirect fitness. But next week we study the cooperative behavior among like a non-relatives, like you and me. You and me are not related at all, but we still help with each other. We study this cooperative behavior between the non-relatives. Well, thank you, and see you next week.